Hello, hi, getting right into it. They're messing with time again. Okay, they're messing with time again. They shifted us backwards. The day it was, I believe it was 2 days ago, they shifted us backwards, backwards through time. And it's not like they could take us too far back, but they did shift us back enough. And they keep doing this. However, they've done it so many times that they have run out of resets. They are out of resets, and that is exactly why they are turning off the LHC at the end of the month. The Large Hadron Collider is going off for 4 years. They're saying it's to make upgrades, but genuinely, they cannot mess with stuff anymore without ripping this all apart. And that's not what they want, believe it or not. What they wanted was to be able to delay that which is naturally occurring. These upgrades have happened time and time again through centuries, and they are aware of the patterns. They know more than we do because they have access to deeper history than we do. With that being said, they shifted us backwards a few days ago. 2 days ago, precisely, maybe even 3. I noticed it 2 days ago, 2 nights ago. And what happened was they have returned us to a level that we have already surpassed, that we have already beat. And if we're thinking of it in terms of a video game, when you get through so many levels on a video game, there comes a repeat level where it's the same layout, the same characters, the same goal, same mission in that level. But you come equipped with more tools, more expansion, more upgrades. And the final boss is a little bit more finally. Maybe bigger, maybe stronger. But you've already defeated this boss. You know the boss's weaknesses. You know where to hit the boss. So what they've done is they've placed us back in a timeline where we have already surpassed, where we've already crossed that threshold. And it's meant to trip you up. But it's also for them to buy them time to accomplish more. Now, we need to recognize as a collective that we've already defeated this level. And your recognition and understanding of the patterns is what's going to help you get through this again. If you can't see that you've already defeated this boss, you've already beat this level. Genuinely, the only thing that's required of you is your acknowledgement that you've already defeated this boss. You've already surpassed this level. And actually, your participation is not explicitly required. And I think a lot of people are seeing that. They want you tripped up in fighting a fight so you lose sight of what's happening. And what's happening is we are going through another round of upgrades. Those upgrades from 2024 that we integrated through 2025 are receiving their round 2 this summer. And maybe even this fall because of how much they've messed with time. The months are off. And I'm not the only one who has said that. There are other people who are saying the same exact thing, that it doesn't feel like we're in this month. And I agree. It actually feels like we're closer to spring than we are to summer right now. So with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some of our bigger solar flares, the biggest ones, towards August and September. And I'm already feeling like those are going to be the hottest months. Now, in order for you to be able to make this second shift, which we are in the pre-phase of right now, and I know this because we just had the X flare the other day, and we had the Schumann resonance going crazy. We had this massive black period. Not only that, the next day after that massive blackout, we had like this whiteout, very intense white with streaks of red in it. And I'm not too familiar with the Schumann, but I do pay attention enough when it comes across that I know those things. That being said, the energy is rising. The earth is rising to meet us, who are rising to the occasion to meet it. And things are shifting very rapidly. It genuinely feels like free falling through timelines right now. So wherever they stuck us at is not exactly where everyone is. They just pulled everyone back, and then whoever can climb that ladder you get it, or people fall down. It really just depends on where you are. So we are having our second round of upgrades. These upgrades were dependent upon the first ones. The first ones came in 2024. And whenever I'm saying 2024, I'm specifically thinking of May for some reason, but it was summer of 2024 that we were activated as like a grand collective. There was a massive activation when we were having all those X flares. We were having like X9s. We were having back-to-back particle storms, all of that. And then through 2025, they thought, okay, it must have just been a fluke because they weren't seeing the exact same things that were happening back then. But that's because that was an integration and rest period. And it was meant to look like inaction for us to them so that they could not combat what was happening. So all of that energy is already integrated into the people who were upgraded. And I have to make another video about that. I have notes specifically for that time that I have to get into in a different video. But in order for you to make the second jump, because it is, I want to say 2 phases, but genuinely it low-key feels like 3. This is the second phase. In order to get to the second phase, you had to make it through the first phase. You had to be activated in that first phase. And yeah, so we are entering the second phase now, where you already had to be across that bridge into a different timeline, a different reality, in order to make it to the second one. And that's not to say that people who did not make those shifts won't have the opportunity to make other shifts. However, this one is multi-part. It's a multi-part series in a way. So the people, those of us who were activated in 2024, are going through our second activation, where the gifts we received in 2024 are not only coming back online after a period of dormancy to integrate, but they're going to be bigger and they're going to be much more noticeable. And perhaps even the people who were activated in 2024 but weren't aware of their gifts will be able to see them now as we go into this next phase of activation. And we were not the first wave of people to be activated. There are people who have come before us. There have been activations. It's very cyclical in nature, which is how they know that they're coming and how to combat them. They weren't prepared for this time. They weren't prepared for this time. So, with all that being said, gifts are going up. We are going to experience some wild things moving forward. They're very aware of this. They are on their last leg. Their last leg, they have no choice but to essentially secede. But in their seceding, they want to take as many people with them as possible back into the lower realm where they are stationed at. Because we are in a frequential age, the age of the colonizer is over. So the ability to cloak in other people's energy, to steal from them, to hide yourself under their wing, that's not supported anymore. And it hasn't been for a long time, but I think it took for a while for all of us to see that. So these people are having a really hard time because they thought that if they allowed us to integrate and upgrade, that they would be able to come in and swoop in and steal. But it's not supported anymore because it's frequential. There is nothing else that can be done but to meet and rise to the frequency to hold that. Even if you had this basket of golden eggs, if they were to snatch it, the eggs are just so light and they're so dense, it would float away on a string. They can't hold it. They can't hold the energy. Anyway, so they took us back however many weeks, months. It wasn't far though. It was not far. The energy did not support them taking us too far back. And some of you may have already noticed a repeat lesson surface, and you blew through it with ease. Congrats. It might take other people just a bit longer to catch on, but regardless, the activations are happening. And so long as you do not fall into the energy that they wanted you in, the energy that you already surpassed 2 years ago, you're golden. Golden, absolutely golden. That being said, very beautiful things are on the way for the collective moving forward. They can no longer delay it. This was their last time for at least 4 years where they can do what they have been doing with time specifically to us. The delay was not a denial in our case. We were resting, we were integrating, and while they thought that the inactivity meant that they had won or they succeeded in some sort, manner, or fashion, they are now realizing that they were wrong, which is why this is the last ditch effort to fix that. And I think that they have expended so much energy that they're not going to be able to do it again. So at the end of the month, they're going to shut down their machine. And in that, if we have not seen the last hurrah with this, we will be seeing it then. But regardless, they cannot prevent the upgrades from happening. They're happening regardless. So long as you did not take and you are in alignment, you're getting your upgrade. And that is one of their greatest fears,